Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So funny enough, I was actually talking football with my dad a couple days ago, who by the way is a big Jet fan, and so he knows the strengths and the weaknesses of the team and everything like that, and we were talking about linebacker. And obviously the Jets didn't land that big name, big money free agent linebacker this offseason. Joe Douglas also didn't draft a linebacker either, right? He went in a bunch of different positions: running back, wide receiver Garrett Wilson, corner Sauce Gardner. Like, the Jets addressed a lot of positions, but the two that weren't really addressed in the NFL draft, safety or really two big positions of need, I should say, safety and linebacker. So we were just talking about different options. Do the Jets feel comfortable with the younger guys on the roster? Are the Jets maybe targeting somebody? Is there something in the works here? Could maybe a player that they really like be cut, be traded, or something like that in the coming weeks, maybe at some point this summer, like as a post June 1st departure? And the first player that he brought up was Deion Jones from the Atlanta Falcons. At 6'1", 230 pounds, 27 years old, Deion Jones is a really interesting case study at this point in time, because we take a look at the state of affairs of the Atlanta Falcons. This is a rebuilding football team. Arthur Smith is now in the building. He's trying to build this team in his vision. Obviously, Dean Pease on defense. And they've parted ways with a couple of big name guys. Julio Jones last offseason, Matt Ryan this year, Russell Gage walks in free agency. Unfortunately, they had the whole Calvin Ridley situation go on. But look, the Atlanta Falcons, this is a rebuilding football team. And Deion Jones, again, 27 years old, still a young ascending player. Although he was drafted back in 2016, second round pick out of LSU. He has seen a lot of football. Okay, so even though he's young, he's still kind of a veteran at the same time when we just take a look at it, the football sense of the word. And there has been some rumors surrounding the linebacker position for the Falcons moving forward, right? A possible switch up. There's been interest in current free agent, former Raider Nick Kwiatkowski. So interesting little storyline to watch. They added Rashaan Evans, former Titan. They drafted Troy Anderson at spot number 58. Okay, you're not going to be drafting a player that high if you have no plans for him, or if the coaching staff just hopes he works out. No, he is going to be playing. Dean Pease specifically identified Anderson as a player that they want in this style of defense. There's been some question marks about Deion Jones. Is he physical enough for Dean Pease? Does he really fit this system, or is he more of a 4-3 guy? And obviously, he was a star linebacker under Dan Quinn, who runs a similar defense to Dan Quinn, Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. Okay, another layer that we could throw on top of this is the fact that Jeff Ulbrich came from Atlanta. He has seen Deion Jones play the linebacker position at a really, really high level. He has had hands-on coaching with him before. Okay, so you're starting to take a look at Deion Jones, where he stands right now. Future in Atlanta, a little uncertain, right? With all of the movement at linebacker, the scheme question marks, the cap hit as well, $20 million for this season. There's been some, again, going back to the first point, there has been some rumors that maybe Deion Jones is the next former Falcon cornerstone to go. Okay, obviously, a rebuilding team doesn't want to be shelling out millions and millions and millions of dollars to players that they don't really feel are long-term fits. So could Deion Jones need a change of scenery? Could that change of scenery be the New York Jets? I think it does make sense on a few levels. We talked about it before. Scheme fit being one, him being a familiar face to the coaching staff, number two, him coming in at a major position of need. The Jets have enough money to pay him. If the Falcons trade Deion Jones post June 1st, they would save $14 million. Okay, they would be taking on just over $5 million of a dead cap hit. So the Jets wouldn't necessarily get him at that $20 million. I know that number is hefty. It's scary. $20 million for a guy coming off a not so good season. By the way, yes, Deion Jones, yes, he missed a lot of tackles. Yes, he wasn't really the most physically enforcing guy out in the field, but he still had decent statistics, right? The basic run-of-the-mill stats: 137 tackles, 2 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 4 quarterback hits, started all 16 games the last 3 seasons. So I could see Joe Douglas and this Jets defensive coaching staff wanting to pull the trigger on a move like this, because let's be honest, it's not going to take a lot to pry Deion Jones away from Atlanta if he again, isn't in the long-term plans of the franchise. You could probably go snag him for a later round pick. And again, because it would be a post-June trade, we don't really have to worry about that draft pick for months. It's not like we're trading away, the second round pick next month's draft. No, it's not really going to be the case. I would assume it's probably going to be a fifth or a sixth round pick if the Falcons want to move off of Jones. So I do see it as a possibility. I don't want to rule it out by any means. And I do feel like out of all the teams out there that makes sense for Deion Jones, again, assuming he does get moved, the Jets would probably be number one as far as just common sense, or really as far as common sense is concerned. Now, here's really the more important question. Is it worth it, right? Do you even want Deion Jones? He's not coming off the best of seasons. The Jets would have to trade away a draft asset. We would have to take on a lot of money in return. Not only is he just on the books for 2022, but also 2023. Is it worth it? Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer. I think the people that have the answer to that question is Joe Douglas, Saleh, and Ulbrich. If those three guys feel confident in Deion Jones' ability moving forward with this Jets defense, and they are willing to give up a late round pick, and they're willing to take on the money, then I'm all for it. Awesome. Fantastic. Again, 27 years old, still has a little bit of an upside. He's played in so many games. We know what he can do when he's in the right system. We know this guy can play. We know he can stay healthy. We know these things. But if Jones ends up elsewhere, if the Jets just have no interest, if they don't pull the trigger on acquiring a guy in Deion Jones, then I'm content with that. I'm okay, because it tells me that this front office feels more comfortable without Deion Jones than with him. Okay, so in either scenario here, I do think it's a win-win. Maybe that's me just kind of looking at the bright side of things here, or looking at it as optimistically as possible. But, I definitely feel like Deion Jones could be moved. I definitely view Jones as an option, again, because of how many arguments or how many points that we can, no pun intended, point to in regards to him joining the Jets with, again, the coaching staff, the scheme fit, everything like that, the positional need as well. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Deion Jones to the Jets, is it a possibility? Would you want that to happen? Do you want to target somebody else? Do you feel comfortable with our current guys on the roster? Sherwood, Najee Dean, Quincy Williams, guys like that. Should be a really interesting discussion. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, go Jets.